Hey everyone, welcome to your short park yoga practice. My name is Jem. It's an absolute honour to be here with you once again. I'm from Park Yoga Minehead, the southwest Somerset, so beautiful part of the country that I'm very lucky to call home. So from Somerset to you, today I'm offering a small practice that has a focus around our hands and wrists. And I wanted to focus on this part of the body because it can be an area that we can often forget about. I know I'm guilty of it. It might be different in your scenario. But my hands are constantly working for me. For 20 odd years I've been cutting hair with these hands. And over that time, I'm starting to feel the repercussions of kind of taking them for granted and not necessarily taking some time out to look after them. Also in our practice, a lot of our shapes that we make, different asanas, ask us to pour quite a bit of weight into our hands and wrists. And if we've only got an hour sometimes to practice, the warm-up can be cut a little bit short around certain areas, and we can go into a practice without really spending a lot of time here. So today there might be a few bits and pieces that you take from this, and perhaps something you could do while you're waiting for your class to start or before you step onto your mat. Cool. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I have here, just a couple of books that I'm going to use at some stage to help. If you have a couple of yoga blocks, perfect. I've just got some books instead of that, so they're not always everywhere for us. We can often find a couple of books. So I'm just going to pop them to the side and then literally bring my hands into my awareness right in front of my face here. So as and when you're ready, find a comfortable seat. Bring your hands to where you can see them and just scanning over, maybe thumb over each finger towards the pinky and then over to the other side. You might even flip your hands over and look at the back of the hands and the wrists. And then we'll bring the forearms together and let the fingers fall out. So without forcing the hands apart, we're just getting a gauge here, seeing where that end range of movement is. You might have your hands in more of a T shape, or you might be like me in more of a V or a Y if you count the forearms. You might have one hand that has a little bit more space to move. Just see at that edge whether you can already start to feel sensation or warmth or other muscles up your arms, shoulders, even your back, kind of turning on to work, maybe even compensate for you. Just getting an idea of what is happening in our own body. And we can come back to this later. Great, and then bring the hands apart. Bring them back together to give them a rub. So we rub, creating a little bit of heat, a bit of friction between the palms. And then when you can feel that heat and friction, let's pause, bring the palms to face up, close the eyes, and just let the hands rest. So that sensation is another point of focus that we can pour our attention towards. Palms softened now. Perhaps there's this sense of open palms. Perhaps we're offering our energy out into the world around us, or maybe your hands, your wrists need to draw a little bit of this energy, this helping energy from around you in towards this area of the body. And our mind doesn't make the decision. We simply offer our hands into this space and let your hands take or give whatever they need. And as we offer our hands into this space and this conversation that we begin, where we're just listening to how the hands feel. They talk through this felt sense. You start to bring this kind presence, around our body, into our practice, into the space that we're sitting into. Heart gently softens and opens. Just surrounding these hands and wrists, but our whole body with patience, with care, this nurturing energy, kindness. Allowing the hands and wrists to be true, to let them work as they will under the conditions. And we make this promise that we won't force anything on them. We'll move with curiosity and encouragement. Bringing the hands together at heart, maybe the eyes are still closed. This gesture here, the palms together. Let them connect so we can feel the energy change again. Notice the energy moving through one hand into another, maybe right up towards your elbows, shoulders. This gesture may be gratitude for all that these hands do. Recognition, acknowledgement. Nice, and then gently opening your eyes. And what we're going to do to start is spread the fingers wide and wiggle the fingers. So one at a time. Bringing the extension through each finger, each thumb, and moving through this kind of wave-like movement from pinkies to thumbs, maybe the other way around. And then let's make a loose fist and kind of curl the wrist so the fingers point down, and then flare the hands open and feel the wrists point towards the sky. We'll do that again. Moving slowly together. Keep moving. We're going to look to kind of move these hands in a way that they might not be used to on a regular basis. They can get used to repetitive movement, usually the up and down. So we want to introduce some different ways of moving so that they become more adaptable and increase our mobility. Also try to strengthen through some of these muscles and then give the muscles that work really hard for us a nice stretch. Great, and then pause for a moment. It's going to spread the fingers wide on one hand, let the other hand rest, and just send the hand out in front of you. Other hand now is going to come, curl the fingers around your fingertips, and just gently encourage the fingers back towards your palms. So there's a nice stretch to start with. Then see if you can keep the bottom hand exactly where it is. Just take the top hand away, and you'll feel these muscles through your forearm, top of the wrist working for you. Give them a moment just to come, almost like getting out of bed for us, just to come on board, come online. Great, then cross the thumb, curl the fingers around the thumb, and let's point the wrist down. You might feel that over the top of the hand. And then other hand can gently curl around your wrist and gently pull the flesh away as you circle. One direction and then the other. So being aware of any clicky bits here. Is it free fluid movement? Is it a bit sticky? Got quite a few clicks happening here. Great. And then pop your hands back on your knees. We'll take the other hand out when you're ready. Second hand just comes to aid here. Will help guide the fingers back. And then when you're ready, take that hand away. A few breaths. Notice if you suddenly kind of hold the breath. See if you can keep moving gently with the breath so that the nervous system is in a good place. Across the thumbs, curl the fingers over the thumb, point the wrist down or the hand down. Other hand gently comes to hold the wrist, pull the flesh away, and then circle. Excuse my little friend. We just had a flurry of birds go off the roof. Nice. Let's bring your hands back down onto your knees. And we're just going to open and close the hands quite quickly here. So open, close. And then take your arms out as you do this. Take your hands a little bit higher. Go high again. Gorgeous swarm of birds flying overhead. I don't know if that's what they're called. A group of birds. Let's take them up a little bit higher again. Bring them down a little bit. So just noticing how this might change through the forearms, if it does at all. And then bring the elbows in towards the ribs. And then pause again. Maybe even close the eyes. Just notice how the energy changes in your hands, the back of the hands, the palms of the hands, fingertips. Cool. Opening your eyes when you're ready. We're going to take our books. Place one in each palm. So you don't want the fingers curling around the book if you can. Fingers are nice and straight here. One hand will rest on your knee. We'll start with one arm. You're just going to reach out as if you're going to offer the book towards someone in front of you, and then pull it back in. Then turn so that the front of your wrist now is pointing in front of you. Your fingers are towards your shoulder, and then we'll press up. Bend the elbow. Turn the wrist. Fingers out in front. Reach out. Pull in. Switch or turn. Press up. One more on this side. Great. And then let that hand rest. Other hand lifts. Reach out when you're ready. Pull the elbow in. Turn. Press up. You could play with the weight here. You could try different props. We're using these books as a place of balance. If they seem to want to slide off, that's fine. You can take the book away. Depends on, again, how much extension you have through the wrist. We'll do one more. Perfect. Keep your hands where they are. Keep the books on the wrist. Let's come to lie down for a moment. What we're going to do is turn so that your fingers are pointing towards your face, and then press the books towards the sky. Bend both elbows, let them touch the floor, and then press towards the sky. And you could marry this movement with a breath. It might be an exhale to land, an inhale to press. When you come towards the sky again, let's pause. Can you turn your arms? So from the shoulder joint, you're just going to feel a rotation so that now that your fingers are pointing down towards the end of your mat or towards your feet. And then keep your arms extended. Feel the whole arm kind of swivel in its joint, and the fingers now turn towards each other, towards the center line. Let's turn again so that the fingers are down at the end of your mat. Keep that and bend your elbows, let them come to the floor. Keep that and now press towards the sky. Two more. Notice what's happening around the belly and the breath, around the jaw. Some parts of your body might be taking some of the tension away. Just offer soft breath towards those parts of the body. Great. Let's pop the books down beside you. Take your hands together, interlace your fingers, and maybe just roll around through like a figure of 8. Whatever feels good here. I even give the hands a shake. And then however you want to come up, you might just bring your hands around your knees and gently rock on up. Or come onto your side. Pop your props away, your books or your blocks away. And let's come on to hands and knees now. So we're going to add a little bit of load to our wrists. Often you'll hear the instructors say shoulders over your wrists. But obviously, if you're wrists are a bit like this to begin with, you're asking quite a lot of them. Yeah, we're forcing them into a shape. So perhaps have your shoulders just a little bit further back and just let them be in a natural range. Okay. And then what we'll do from here is just rock your weight onto one hand and then over towards the other hand from a side to side kind of movement here. Trying to allow your spine to be in its nice neutral position. And then see how you feel about rocking a little bit of weight further forward, just a smidge. And then rock back. Keep an eye on the breath, because as the breath if you are retaining the breath or it kind of pauses and you're holding it here, it might mean that we're going a little bit too far. If you can continue to breathe gently, we know we're in a good spot. And then perhaps circle. So circle in one direction and then circle around in the other direction. Great. So let's come back into neutral. Come up onto your fingertips now, and we'll just do the same. So rock from side to side. And perhaps rock back and forth. And then maybe a circle in both directions. And just noticing how the rest of the body responds. Amazing. Let's pop our hands back on the mat. Can you peel your fingers up off the mat towards the sky? Press down through the heels of your hands and then gently take your sitting bones back towards your heels and your fingers still moving skyward. And then slowly come forward on a breath. Could be in or out. Just see how far we can go. Gently move back with a breath. And move forward. Last one, move back. Amazing. And then come back into your neutral tabletop. Okay, so let's just play with moving the hands out slightly. So just patting the hands, moving from one hand to the other at a 45-degree angle, maybe 90. Just see how far you can go around with your fingers facing out. You might even come to a place where your fingers are facing your knees or not. Just come to that first edge where the body says, okay, I'm good here, but we're good here. Yeah. And then start to walk all the way back. Until you find your fingers back at the front of the mat. And then let's swap onto the back of our hands. So be gentle here, let the elbows bend. And you might find it's the fingers moving towards each other, towards the center line. Just a press and a lift, one hand at a time, just to see where we can go. And then when you feel like walking back, keep the movement going. Keep your knees and elbows really soft as you do this. Cool. And then return onto your palms. So we're going to do some kind of hand and wrist press-ups or push-ups, what I call them. So from here, can you just lift the heels of your hands, feel the knuckles still on the mat, and then maybe lift the knuckles and come up onto your fingertips. Great. And then drop the knuckles, drop the heels of the hands. Lift the heels of the hands, lift the knuckles, drop, drop. We'll lift, drop, drop. Take a breath. See how you feel about doing that now with the fingers out towards the side. This may or may not be accessible. Just listening gently to the body, lifting the heels of the hands. That might be where you stay. You might be able to come up onto fingertips, knuckles, heels of the hands. So again, we're not forcing or punishing this part of our body. We're staying curious, being really kind, and just seeing what is available today. Hands come back in front when you're ready. Okay, nearly there. We're going to come onto the back of our hands again. Fingertips facing each other in the center of your mat. Bend the elbows deeply. Be really generous with that bend. And then as and when you're ready, keep the nice natural breath, steady breath, and you start to straighten your elbows. Your elbows will want to bend to protect your wrists. That's fine. But we just want to see strength is here. And that slow, steady breath is just going to let the nervous system know that we're okay. If you're feeling any pain, obviously come straight out. Rebend the elbows, come back onto the palms. And then, I'm going to turn the hands around. Fingers are now facing your knees, if that's available. You might come back to what we've just done or choose something previous to that. Tuck your toes. Start to peel the heels of your hands off the mat. Peel the knuckles of the hands off your mat and stay on your fingertips. Spend a slow, steady breath here. Great. And then come all the way back. Turn your hands back out towards the sides and then the front of your mat. You turn onto the back of your hands once again. Bend your elbows so they're kind of moving towards your ribs. And then see how you feel about gently straightening, just a touch, not much here. Great. Come back onto the palms of your hands. Last little bit. Choose a hand and let's pop it onto the mat. The other hand is just going to keep you nice and steady. And I'm going to try and keep the heel of my hand glued to the floor. But I'm going to slowly bring the palm around so my fingertips are facing in. And then kind of turn onto the back of the hand and keep that swivel movement happening. All of a sudden I have to go onto the insides of my hands. Keep the heel of the hand or the wrist attached to the floor. And notice how we change again to come onto the back and the palm. It's quite hard to explain, but I want you to think about spiraling, adding a little bit of weight to the wrist, moving the rest of your body as it needs to, letting the elbow and the shoulder get involved. Gorgeous. And then pause and bring that hand to rest. Other hand starts. So arm on the ground, turn the hands in. A little bit of pressure here on the heel of the hands. The fingers can lift. You'll roll onto the back of the hand. Keep the fingers moving around. It's a bit sticky to start and then you'll find your flow. Come on to the inner index finger thumb. Keep moving around till you're back onto the back of your hand again. And just play, find a little bit more fluidity in this. So it's just kind of a wee bit of remapping for the mind here, a movement that we might not be that used to. But your hand isn't hovering, there's a little bit of pressure there, just getting into the fascia around this joint. Great. And as and when you're ready, let's bring the hands off the mat. Take them out in front of you, interlace the fingers, press the palms away. Maybe take them up towards the sky. Bring them back out in front of you. Palms together, fingers still interlaced. And then bring the palms towards you. Remember how to do this. And then bring the hands down in front of you. Take the hands apart last little bit. Cross the wrists, interlace the fingers. See if you can bring the palms down towards your heart and back over. Noticing the frown if it's there too. Keeping the face really soft if you can. Take your hands apart. Let's cross them in the opposite direction. Fingers, palms, fists move down and then towards your heart and up and over. Lovely. Release your hands, give them a nice shake. And shake so that they're kind of moving from side to side. And then kind of flap them up and down. And then just to see where your concentration is at, keep one flapping up and down, take the other one from side to side. And switch. Great, and then let your hands rest. Maybe close the eyes. Let them be at rest. Your hands are free to talk. We're here listening to this felt sense. Offering them love, gratitude. Recognition through the breath. The inhale might be the breath that reaches out towards your hands, your wrists, your fingers. And with the exhale, there might be a silent or vocal thank you. We'll do that again. Let the palms meet each other in front of the heart. Let one hand find your heart, the other hand on top. And the heart reaches out in gratitude and thanks. Feeling the energy move through. Healing energy. Opening your eyes. And then let's bring the forearms together. Let's come back to where we were. So in my body here, there is a little bit more space, more mobility. Check in. Have the hands changed? This angle at the wrists. Does it feel different? Is it the same? Maybe this is something we can come back to. Stay aware. Stay interested. Stay kind. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have fun. Let me know if there is any improvements. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll keep an eye on the comments. And from myself and the rest of the Park Yoga team, namaste.